So, the first point of order is having a chair for the committee. It can be whoever we want it to be. Volunteers are welcome. It can't be me. I mean, I guess it could be me on this one. There's no rules, but
I don't think it should be me.
I just don't feel qualified. I'm just.
you don't feel qualified. I say you're qualified.
Well, you're the award winner, so yeah.
I offer Melody Smith Johnson's name.
Not really.
We'll make your job easy. Did you? That was a motion.
That was not a motion, but can we have a discussion?
Okay, there we go. No, I did.
I would second it if you agree.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna force you.
No, I got you. You gotta do it sometimes. So what's the problem? No. This is how we do each other.
Don't you see what I put together?
Well, that's right.
Don't you owe me one night? No, seriously, I do think you'd be fabulous. And we'll make it easy.
We can give it a whirl. How about that?
Great.
Beautiful.
Oh, so
All in favor?
Aye.
You did see what we did to you there, right?
It's called voluntold. Voluntold. We got you now. Tracy makes our lives easy.
I believe so.
That's the first, already done. Number one. So I thought it would be good to review what we discussed last month and some of the homework that we had. And thinking about it, it really felt right to start with the charge and then go from there. What Melody sent actually kind of replaced my need to do a process document, so I didn't.
That was really, it was really well done.
Doing my homework.
You were giving off chair vibes.
Yeah, that was really well done.
I actually thought that this in particular was a really good summary of what the other document was. So I thought maybe we could start here if that works for you. I don't know if there's anything, if you want to start.
Did you walk us through, Madam Chair?
Yeah, so what I really wanted to do was to give as much information as possible, looking at the regions that are connected to us. I went as far as Peekskill, because I took a look at not just central New York, but western New York and further downstate, but in areas that demographically and geographically kind of matched ours, not just in those raw numbers, but in the feeling of what we want people to experience business-wise and individual-wise coming to our area. And I wanted to give us like a lot of information because we can always slow it down. I wasn't quite sure what I should include. I figured let me just give enough, and that's a lot, right? But I also didn't want us to walk away with having to figure out what to do next, which is why I included the 90-day process.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. That's what I would want, you know, because we're all really, really busy. So that was possible. And this fast food for eyes, I learned that from Gwen Inc., is, I think, really important when you're talking about, one, having an executive summary, but then having it visually mapped out with a pathway to figure out how to get from point A to point Z. That's what I think we're doing. So I think focus on the purpose, giving us like a charge, because that's what we asked for, and the document really does accentuate what that charge will look like being experienced by both the committee, by the board, and then by all of our stakeholders and partners that we develop or that we currently have. Yep. And then the pathway is pretty clear. Any questions about like going from strategy to understanding and trust to market access to really measuring the results will be the end of it, and how we get there through mobilization and targeted outreach. I think just about that part, in my experience, whenever we're eager to communicate something, I've seen it done really well when the interested parties will sit back and say, not only what do we want to communicate, that's intention, but what is the impact of that communication. So when we're talking about marketing, you really want to make sure that the audience that we're speaking to, they understand the value position and that they see themselves in it. So that was the goal of starting first with clarifying the strategy and then building, mobilization, outreach, and then measuring the results. So we can decide, like, maybe we want 2 versus 4, or however it is we want to change things.
Okay.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed here is that I almost feel like there needs to be a 6A and a 6B, where like 6A is actually pretty close up, maybe right after stage 1, where we say, okay, what are the results we're measuring and how are we measuring them?
Yeah.
So that once we get to stage 6 and we are measuring them, we're walking in there knowing, and like we can build everything to that point
Great.
with those outcomes in mind. And you do have intended outcomes here,
Right.
so then it's just a question of how do we measure these things. So it's almost, this might be helpful to just have a little like asterisk after 1 or something.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that measurement, provides you data and provides you feedback, like internal understanding of where we are to stay on track. This is a huge task. Like the work of Ada is really important, not just to today, but, and my hope is that other IDAs will be looking at Auburn and saying, hey, they got it right, and this is what we want to pattern, and have it be seen nationally as award-winning work.
That would be my goal if Ada did. I would love our IDA, you know, I think big. That's like, here she got one. You have a great grandmama that lives in my mind, she talks to me like that, Matt, here she goes. But no, I really feel strongly about that. I think that there's so many things about Auburn that could be, we should be nationally recognized for, and I love our economic development strategies and the work of the IDA, our partners, to be part of that. So I don't want us to be afraid to believe that that's possible for us.
Agree?
That's our given.
We
It was given before I came on this committee.
Exactly. We know that, we gotta get other people to know.
Yeah.
Trace, I'm wondering if, listening to what you're saying, if under clarifying strategy, if maybe we just, and that little bit of us, be thinking about, clarifying the strategy, but just to put like little touch points in there, like I think we're talking about the goal, the strategy, definitions of success. Maybe that would work there, right? So, and I also think that this would be really interesting to me, because I don't know if Ada has a formal value proposition, but it might be interesting for us to consider developing one.
Yeah, I bet you if we have one, it's somewhere in the website.
Yeah, and I think if we could pull it out and make it more front-facing, this is why we believe our IDA is the best, at the best, right, at the best. And it's data supported already, I mean, we have the evidence. But do you think that would help, Tracy, in that we're talking about clarifying the strategy, define goals, audiences, industries,
I think that is right.
and success? We can figure that out.
Run that by me again, Gwen.
So I'm saying, so that instead of having a 6A and a 6B, if I'm hearing Tracy correctly, what she's recommending that we do early on is like make sure that we, well, and I think Melody kind of does it there with the intended outcomes, right? Define success in that first phase of work that we're going to do, so that when we get to 6, we're measuring against something we've already defined.
Great. I'd like to back up. Isn't that statement there?
The purpose?
Yeah.
Is that the definition?
Could be, I'm assuming that this is the goal,
Yeah.
purpose.
Got it.
Okay. I want to clarify.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page with that. And I think that if I'm hearing you correctly, I'm not a ventriloquist, so don't let me throw my voice, I do have that. That if we can just make a point of saying one of the first things we're gonna do, and we know the balance of that language, right, is like identify what success will look like early on. Then when we get to 6, we'll already know what we're measuring, if you think it needs to be more specifically stated upfront. Not talking to you with an economic development expert. We're the marketing experts. It may not be necessary, we could be overfunctioning, but I want to understand more about what you're thinking.
Yeah, so I see this purpose as the purpose of the committee, which is overarching with the purpose of the marketing strategy. And so, at what point, what does that look like and how do we measure it? So before we get to measuring results, we need to know what we're measuring, so that we can have a baseline that we're tracking against. Like, I can already tell you, the further and further we get away from CETA, the more and more ADA is like it. Sometimes actually fading into the background of people's minds.
Got it.
And
Oh, really?
our pipeline, the pipeline I've been keeping was very active in 24 and 25,
Mhm.
and it's been less active this year, and that might be a matter of economic conditions. But I've also had a few people, I think it's also a function of our website not being quite right.
Mhm.
But I've been having people saying like, oh, I don't know who to contact. So it's definitely something that we need to kind of reintroduce ourselves
Mhm.
and say, here's where we are, and refresh the information on the website, and, but yeah, definitely seeing that the pipeline is not, I'm not getting as many inquiries as I did in previous years.
When you would get inquiries, is it local? Is it people outside of this area reaching out to you?
It's both,
It's both.
yep.
More local, would you say?
I would say
Likely?
it's more local.
Yeah.
And then it is sometimes brokers that have clients that are looking for space. I've just been getting a little bit less of everything. And like, to be fair, the last couple of years, I've had a lot of inquiries, but very few of them were like qualified, eligible.
Sure, sure.
But that's what it takes, you know, you get 20 inquiries, you
Sure.
get one good one, or one like, I don't wanna say good one, it's not that the other ones aren't good, they're just either not a right fit or whatever. But it's, you know, sometimes it takes 20 to get
Sure.
one,
Yeah,
and,
sure.
I'm getting, like this year, I think I had 6, and last year, I think I had 19 or 20 by the end of the year. So we're a little slow on
Sure.
that stuff
Sure.
this year.
So Trace, if you were gonna add language to one, what would it be as it related to measure the results?
Yeah, I think it would just be defining success and metrics of success.
I can write one.
And that way we know where we're starting from.
Yes.
Because it's much harder to look back when you're saying like, oh, this is going really well, let's make this a metric.
So when you look at intended outcomes, right, sort of that would be where we're looking to go. Are we saying that we want to talk about how it is that we determine that we've gotten greater awareness, how it is that we've got stronger business attraction? Okay.
Right, like how can we,
Mhm.
if we're measuring it, what are we measuring?
Mhm.
And how do we know that it's going well?
I think the intended outcome sets a big umbrella. I think up in strategy land though, that's where we be granular, that stuff might not be as public facing.
Right.
But the combination of all of that will let us know whether or not stakeholders understand agent role eligibility requirements.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that would be something like pipeline
Mhm.
Right.
inquiries, you know, we've seen a boost in inquiries, we've seen a boost in project submitting applications,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. So really just defining those things that we want to keep track of specifically.
With that piece, this makes sense to me.
Agreed, 100%. So these, initial, again, I'm just not giving as much information based partly upon research, and I provided you guys all the places that we took a look. But then also the document, Tracy, that you provided, right? And so it speaks very specifically to what might we want to accomplish in the first 90 days of this work that would set us up to be able to reach those outcomes and be able to have some deliverables back to the board to show that we're moving in the right direction, determine what our measurable results would be, and whether or not we're getting it done right.
Yeah, and one outcome might be a 12-month marketing plan.
Right.
Does it exist? If yes, we met that goal, and we can measure something else now. And what's missing here?
Not sure, I'm just, looking through that, some of them are quite objective and others aren't. And also I'm wondering where the borders are from we began. And then the purpose itself, it's well written sentence, you want one of those long compound sentences. But within it, it identifies very specific goals. That, more qualified economic development opportunities, strengthens regional partnerships, which I'm really big on. But it's like just two things got thrown in this. I'm not sure it's the best goal statement, but at any rate, so, who actually is, we wanna know who's gonna be accomplishing each thing, you know? And I'm struggling with like where the board fits in and all of that as to who's gonna, I agree with everything that's up here.
Right.
It's just a question. We've all seen those wonderful plans.
Yeah.
We've all seen them.
How do we operate?
How do we execute them?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think to some extent, we think about it as this committee is the strategy committee, and saying like, here are the things we're trying to accomplish, or here's the things that we think you need to do to accomplish these goals. Here are the activities that we think you can do to accomplish these goals within that strategy. And then the ADA board comes in and says, yes, we agree, no, we don't agree, you need some tweaks, and then it's really their job to resource it.
Yes, and that's, you said much more clearly what I was trying to say.
Right.
You know, looking at this document, you would almost be prepared for it.
Right.
And so that's it. Think of
Can you
right.
just take a second, Ed, and just take a look at that in this document? Because I'm new to the connection between the board
Right.
and this, I wanted to kind of.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a real newbie, so.
Yeah. I'm newer than you.
Oh, yeah, we definitely can't approve projects.
Right.
Okay,
So just to delineate
Yes.
responsibilities, right?
Mhm.
So, you did real general, but I thought the importance has to come to that, agreement, some consensus, get on the same page about it.
Yes, if you go right up on the top, Melanie says, marketing committee shall make recommendations to ADA board and shall not independently approve. So that's very, that's what clarified, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's our position to recommend.
Right.
Great, good. Wasn't sure this is what I thought.
Yeah, no, that's.
No, that's it.
Yeah, no, you did cover it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit confusing up here, but no, you know, it's, shall make recommendations and shall not.
Independently do all of these things.
And the other thing that I would say is that I think this is really critical work to do, because as somebody who does board governance work that has advisory committees, not delineating this authority, which is a problem. Right? No, I was just saying that I think it's critically important to have a statement like this, because I do board development and governance work through my company, and boards that have advisory committees get jammed up all the time because this isn't clearly delineated, right? So it's important for there to be no shade of gray about our relationship to the board. And I also like Tracy, that it is the board's job to resource it. So if there's something, you know, money to throw this out, I think we're kind of already doing it. We should not be the webmasters, however, we strongly recommend that the board engage somebody, right? So there'll be things, so we can be even also when we can put forward who we think should take the lead on that, or we're recommending that the board consider engaging, someone to help us do this, or that we pull together a short-term test. I mean, I think we need to be clear, and also it's okay to say what we need the board to do. For example, we're the brand ambassadors, right? So there might be one of the things we want the board to do is to spend a session with us going over what we believe the most powerful talking points for a board member to say when we're at a chamber event and somebody says, what the hell is they gonna do?
Right.
I get asked that question all the time, right? So I think there's ways, as long as we're really clear about our governance authority and limitations, but then as we're recommending projects, we can go as far as to define who we think should be involved in making sure that that project can be done. So there's no confusion. And then it's up to our board to figure out what to do.
Yeah, I think this part is really clear.
Yeah?
Early, and then we just have to be disciplined, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy, to say do all of these things.
Right.
But I think we have to actually be practical for that.
Right.
So,
Well, I love the 90-day strategy, because I'm a firm believer that we can do it all, we just can't do it all at once.
Right.
And as long as we set the framing, the time, the trajectory, I think that'll be great. So the 90-day priorities will also say to the board, this is where we believe we need to focus it.
And my hope is that, once this is looked at and the board says, yes, this feels good to us, that there'll be questions
Oh, that
about,
there will
is this a priority? I don't know, I ordered these Yeah, that shows it, and this document shows it as well, I kind of ordered what we should do as priorities based upon just looking at what, like, the other IDAs are in the region.
And I feel like this is a little bit off track, but I think relevant. The poll in the Citizen right now is about pilots.
I saw that.
It's about what?
Is about pilots, and whether people like them or don't like them, or something interesting. Actually, when I looked at, I voted, and I looked at the results, and it was actually going better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
But it was early.
Yeah.
So, but that's one thing that, I don't know that we need to address it, but it might be an opportunity to, refer to in these conversations about educating stakeholders about.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
I was like, really, now? Couldn't you have done this in like 3 months when we're like ready for this?
No, I think that's a great idea. I think, you know, when we reintroduce ourselves, because I do think people, don't know what pilots are, how they operate, and how they can be value add to our community. They just think we're giving people free money, and there's no return on that investment.
I do believe
Or free, you know what I'm saying?
there are wonderful public servants working in our community that don't understand pilots.
Oh, I
People
totally
working in
understand.
this building.
Yes.
And it's not really their fault, it's not their area of expertise, but it's also a question of, you know, those are some of the relationships we really need to figure out and make sure that the people who are out there talking to residents, talking to businesses, talking to whoever, whether they, you know, a lot of people don't agree with pilots, and a lot of people don't like IDAs, and that's, you know, a personal opinion. Let's just make sure it's a personal opinion based in fact.
Right.
Well, I think, you know, part of it too is, you see the headline, you know, there was in the paper the other day about the hotel, and you just see, I forget what the number was, it was a big number, millions of dollars in tax, you know, savings.
Like 98.3.
And it was, you know, you look at it, if you don't know any better, you just look, oh, that's money they should be paying, so it goes, we get it. They don't understand there's more to it than that. And to your point about people understanding what pilots are, that's I think what it comes down to. Is they see the headline that, you know, that this hotel company is gonna save millions of dollars, and we're gonna have to pay for it basically in our taxes because they're not paying the taxes, you know? So it's, right, to your point, it's making sure everybody understands what a pilot is and what the benefits are. Yeah.
So yeah, and also to your point, Melody and here, I kind of like the fact that it starts with internal stakeholders, like our community, in the summary sheet in particular, but also without the marketing piece, like about priority, like marketing being a priority. I think that's gonna be a big part of how our business comes in.
Absolutely.
So I think that it needs to be a priority at a certain point.
I would also say just an observation I have and why I think this document is really good. And then Tracy, we can talk about how to like share at least this piece with the board and the timing of it. But, because I think inside our own board, there's confusions about the difference between promotion and marketing and why social media, for example, adds value because, you know, if we look at our board intergenerationally, there's some people on the board that social media is life, and other people are like, I don't care about that, right? Which is natural. And so I think that this makes, it says what we're going to do, and then we can make the business case for why we need to be promoting, especially regionally. One reason is because everybody else around us is doing
Absolutely doing
it.
it.
If you're not on the playing field, you don't get to play, right? But I think we can really make the business case for why this work is critical to the future of Ada, because the thing I'm always thinking about, what is the future calling this IDA to do? Which is why we're now talking about housing when we didn't talk about it before, right? We're looking at other things. Tracy's bringing trends into our boardroom, and I think the importance of marketing and all of the vehicles and the tools needed to do it, we have to help the board understand that without it, you know, if they don't know about you, fundamentally you don't exist. And we need to do this. The other thing is that this is a priority to the mayor. When he said, you know, if we could really be doing something promoting, marketing Auburn as a great place to do business
Right.
is one of his top priorities. Makes sense to me.
That
So
makes total.
I think the culture and the climate is right in our boardroom to introduce something like this.
That's good.
Thank you for doing the homework, girlfriend.
Oh, my God.
So when we're looking at, moving forward, I think that, after this for me, for us to be able to say, yes, this is what we do, and my inclination is that the board needs to decide, yes, this is what you're doing, right? And then we say, right? When is your next board meeting?
Tomorrow.
So I have a, do we meet in August?
We do meet in August.
So I have a thought about this only because I won't be at tomorrow's meeting. And I'd like to be at the meeting where this gets presented. I'd like to offer that we as the committee take this document, having talked about it, hearing Melody's philosophy behind the content and the structure, look at it one more time with feeling. If there's any revisions that we need, Ed, I see you marinating on how we can more clearly say something, we get all
I'm
those.
just always worried about execution.
No, I totally get it,
Sure.
yeah, I totally get that, so that. we
And I
can-
want us to be set up to be able to get this done.
Exactly, I would. So if we can get our revisions to you, and could we introduce this at the August meeting and maybe even ask the Madam Chair to come and do this as our board education piece almost?
Yeah, in a way, I mean, just to take the other side, to a certain extent, it's simpler than you might think.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
well.
it's true, that's
It's
true.
like, we're going to do exactly this.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Right.
I
That I
believe-
love.
I call that going Sesame Street on people. This is an egg. This is a letter. That's what we're gonna do.
I see that we actually can define all of these
Yes.
ourselves,
Right,
and then give it to the board.
Yep.
I'm completely good with it.
yeah.
I think that's clear, and I think these are achievable, we can offer our thoughts to it, for the next meeting.
Mhm.
And, basically, we're saying, this is what we think you can do.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
And then they approve it, and then we get to execute.
Exactly,
I
that's it.
just always want to make sure that all
Absolutely.
of the hard work we end up putting in
Yeah,
pays
happy.
off.
And that is palatable, right? Because we want the board, the ambassadors, to be able to say, yes, that works. This is what we're looking to do, and this is why we're looking to do it. Be able to say,
Mhm.
defining rooms where we're not.
Mhm.
This is who we are, this is why we are, this is how we are, and this is what you expect.
Who's the number one stakeholders?
Oh,
We're gonna talk, that's it, that's the beginning, that's where we start. So the other thing now that we could do at the point of presentation would at a very high level, I mean, we're defining what the boundaries of our authority are, but would be to send an example of, and as we're doing our work, these are the kinds of things we might need from the board, right? Your review and approval of this, just conversations with us about how to, just so that we have some high level understanding.
When's your August meeting?
Yeah, when is the August meeting?
Does it happen like on the third Tuesday, or third Wednesday?
And then Matt and I will be in the room if Ed wants to attend, we can do that, but we can make this our board education piece, and maybe do it at the front of the meeting. We'll see how much business we have to do in August, okay? And I just would like to be present when this particular thing happens.
Okay, so, and what I can also do is, for this group,
Tracy, since this is a PDF, I can resend it as a Word document.
that's what I say, I can convert it, but if you already have it as a Word document.
I do.
Great.
I'll just reattach it and send it.
Excellent. So over the next month, we'll continue to review, continue to look at this. If there's
Yeah, and we can share the back and forth on email too, what do you think?
Yep.
And probably there'll be some requests for information, maybe Tracy, that I don't know if that's a word of time.
Yep.
Probably if I go through everything you sent me, I will.
Yep.
Like the asset inventory and everything. And the one thing, you guys are watching, because I always go for the most fun thing. And that regional partnership, which is kind of gets strengthened after we have our Fs together.
Right, yeah.
But, man, and we talk about, we want to be the example,
Mhm.
okay? Well, we also want to steal any other great ideas that
I love-
everybody else is doing.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in reinventing wheels, because the sister is tired, okay?
So we have that.
And you know what could actually happen?
And then people can think we invented it, we don't
Right.
have to tell them we stole it, but,
Well, I'm upset that entities like Central State CEO, some of our other colleagues are really interested in having the regional conversation. I just think our environment's been so chaotic. And I also think that I think sometimes we suffer from what I call outsiderism, you know, if it's not happening right here in that. So I think that we can also, through our work, be the ones sort of churning the ground as to why looking at things from a regional point of view could be value added to our economic development strategy.
Good. So do you think Ada has a relationship with, Red Sea that it should?
Tracy's our representative there, right?
Not on the Red Sea.
So who's on the Red Sea?
Mike was.
Okay, Michael Miller? So we have someone in the county that's at Red Sea. I sit on the
Jenny
center.
is not there too.
Okay, so the city manager who is, you know, who helps work with Ada, then I sit on the Center State CEO board. And I'm on their finance committee, so I know what kind of dollars they're dealing with. And so I think the mayor is meeting people regionally. The Ada board's also talking about maybe one of our convenings being meeting with some of our regional Ada partners, IDA partners. So I think we have the tentacles out there. I don't think we have,
It's not formal.
that's what I was gonna say. It's being done, but I would offer that it's being done with strategic intent within our silo versus being done with strategic intent to have a larger impact on the city and the county.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we need to move. It needs to be a value that we have.
And the other thing, and I don't know, and this would really be you, Tracy, is a lot of this stuff is simply knowing the people at what you struggle developing
Yeah.
a relationship with them,
Yeah.
so that they're actually calling you. I'm sure.
Please still call me.
There you go. So
Well,
that's what we want.
not only because Tracy is our executive director, but she literally is known in the state of New York for what she does.
We
have a pride. I watched her at a statewide conference. I'm like, well, if she's not famous.
Well, then you're comfortable with 3 years, right?
No, the relationships are there.
Yeah.
The question,
The
how
answer,
do we appropriately leverage those relationships?
Where do we hold that information? What's the repository for all the things that we know?
her,
We're gonna dump it out.
Jenny,
Jenny.
we are talking about a shared CRM,
Yes.
that can outlive any one person or organization. So that's something that we're hoping to do with $150,000 in the county budget this year. We're just waiting to see how much the strategy is gonna cost. But we do have a good, we've identified a good tool that would be really helpful for us and is made in a way that I think would be helpful for us, and we could share it amongst all the partners
Right.
so that there's not one person kind of holding the key.
yes.
So CETA had a couple of different CRMs, and they never quite clicked, and they were never fully shared, because we were the shared, component, but now we're talking about like, okay, the city needs their own access, CCDC needs their own access,
Right.
IDA, ADA, you know, SCDC has their own CRM, but, and then within that, we can share with each other as appropriate, but we can also share contacts at regional partner agencies.
Right.
And like, when was the last time someone talked to Dan Kalinsky? Like, if Jenny just called him yesterday, should I be calling him today?
Right.
So it would give us, I think, a better.
It gives you so much context.
Yeah.
It's really important to have.
Moving parts.
You know, when you were talking, and Melody, about making, or striving at least to make us perhaps the best Ada in the state, well, part of that could come from us taking the lead, and it's a little bit further down the road, I guess, taking the lead on linking people together. In other words, take the initiative, you know, a communication from you, a release to the paper, you know, that you did this, you know, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we will be there. I'm speaking this into it. That's like, this lady's crazy. Welcome to Wednesday.
The reason-
I enjoy it here.
Thank you.
It would just be interesting to be literally, of course, but with the other people that are in our situation, or how they're doing. So it's always good to find out.
Yep.
And that's something that will give us status if we're the ones that.
It's a great value position, you know, proposition for us. So, as it relates to this is me in the Ada chair hat. that we're going to, spend some time with this prior to Ada's third Wednesday in the month meeting. Maybe we can reconvene ourselves, make sure that we finesse this the way we want to be finessed. We'll make sure it gets on the agenda as our board education piece. And this might happen virtually anyway, if we just send everything to Mel, she finesses the document, sends it back to us. If we green light it even before our next committee meeting, we won't need to spend a lot of time, other than me saying this is how our board education sessions work, which they're easy. You show up, you talk, I ask the question, what's your general reaction? You know, I do that kind of stuff, so, we'll do that. Thank you, Mel, this was really, really helpful.
Yeah.
And it's like, after 3 months when we voted in the Constitution, it's like, here,
Yeah,
this is what we think.
yeah,
You're like, good now, let's see.
Yeah.
Great, and then we'll just be putting our responses into.
Yes.
Points like that.
yeah, and then.
Are you gonna turn this, because you're gonna turn this into a Word document now?
I am, I just gotta get to a computer to send it. I'll just reply all, and everything will be a Word. I don't remember what else is a PDF, but I'll make it all Word. Yeah, this can't be a PDF, it's a picture.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it can't be a Word document, it's a picture.
But you'll be able to finesse that from
Well,
us.
it can be a Word document, but it
Yeah.
looks like this.
It'll-
I'll recreate that. I can recreate that.
Mhm. Yeah.
It'll be all a tad bit discombobulated.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good jump in what we.
Oh, honey, I was so happy to see this
Oh.
come in. Oh,
This is
man.
good.
So the asset list, I didn't see a ton of additions to it. Did anyone get in there?
That's page 8, right?
That's the, other assets, the Google Doc.
That's what,
This
that's
is
in
just
here, right.
the start of an asset list that we can use moving forward.
Would this be the start of it, there's no other information in right now about this? Is this the whole asset, is the whole, does the asset list exist?
Yeah, so this
This
is
is
the
the
asset
previous
list
thorough one,
that's
okay.
existing based on what we've always done for business attraction.
Okay.
And resident attraction, so it's
Oh,
just.
yeah, yeah, I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else.
I think it's a map, yeah.
Yeah, I was also thinking of stuff we have now.
So
No, I get it.
if there's things you still want to add to this, please do. This is kind of going to be the starting point of some of the later work that we do. But also if there's like categories of things that are missing here, you know, like I didn't get into, like this doesn't get into like every single historic site or every single cultural asset or every single, like that kind of stuff, but it could.
Yeah, I was thinking that we might want to quantify that, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are how many of those historical and cultural sites?
Oh, man, you are on a roll today. Quantify, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
How many are there?
No, we're just
9?
working on an impact statement for another client, and the whole thing is just numbers, you know, so it's 3 museums, you know, working. Because I'm looking at this, I'm sure everybody say, well, you know, probably everybody has something that looks like this.
So instead
So,
of.
but if we can make it more specific, we have, you know, one of the largest professional theaters in the country. You know, we have all those things that are unique.
Yeah, and I think those specifics are where the brain, sharing is helpful, because like, I don't have all that stuff in my mind.
Right.
So those are the kinds of things that like, what are the most impressive things to you? Put them in this list. Because I can't fathom everything.
I wouldn't have a problem with
We would see something like that, or would that be under quality of life, or I see it being in a couple of different places. Yeah.
And if there's random things you don't know where to go, just put it at the end and we'll place it later, or we'll create a new category, or whatever.
But this is a good way for us to understand for the conversation we were having the last time. So,
What is this on? Is this something of yours? I don't remember seeing that.
So it's a Google, document that I shared, a Google Doc that I shared a link to.
Did you send this down?
I think I shared it after the last meeting, but I can send it again. I'll send
Would
it
you
again.
mind? That'd be good.
Yeah.
I'm setting up a separate email account for you guys now. It's like, oh my God. So I don't know whether you're here, there, or anywhere, but if you send it, that'd be great. I would really, I'm gonna try to look at everything. I'm really gonna do it.
Okay, so I'll share it after the meeting tonight, and just over the next month, keep adding to it.
Yeah, one thought I had was kind of in line with what everybody's here talking about. you know, there are categories, like you said, museums. So then list every museum. You know, there are restaurants, list every restaurant. Not everything would be front and center, but that information would be available where if we want to be like, hey, you know, we want to talk about restaurants, what restaurants are available?
Mhm.
Here's a whole list of restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
What museums are available? Well, here's a whole list of museums, you know, it's kind of
Could we link to?
broken out
That's what
into,
I'm thinking. For
Yeah,
something
we would,
like that,
need a link to that rather than.
Yeah.
I would think use the tourism office, because they keep that kind of stuff
They
really
do.
up to date.
Their website is up to date.
I don't think we need to try to
okay,
do that.
yeah.
But we could say.
Yeah.
All right,
Like, 'cause just keeping that stuff up to date can be a real, whereas like the tourism office, like the tourism partners
That's what they
have a
do.
login.
Okay.
And they can update their own information.
got it.
If something closes, it comes off, if something opens,
Absolutely.
it often comes on. So I think rather than trying to recreate that,
Yeah.
we can utilize that resource to say, there are 6 museums or 7 museums, whatever, and then have to
Restaurants,
do that.
certain, you know.
To learn.
And then there's the bid, right, that can very easily, it's centralized, but can very easily tell us, what those restaurants are
Yeah.
and those.
I think it's just, yeah, you know, you're looking at your audience and your intended, what you're trying to serve in state, and when you have to come with it. We'll do that on the own, just making these persuasive rather than just, oh, we have this.
Yeah, like what are the highlights? Someone's gonna be like, holy shit,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Auburn's got it going.
Well,
A lot of people are shocked when I just tell them like little fun facts.
Oh, people
They're
are.
like, Auburn?
Well, it's special. It is. Well, maybe deservedly or not, it's a special place.
There it is.
And so, yeah, let's look at these and try to make it different than everybody else.
So Tracy, your ask of the committee is to now look at this one more time with feeling and just make suggestions or add stuff, and then we can determine if it's something we need to do or send a link to someplace, right?
Right.
Okay.
Being a city means something. It used to.
A city?
Being a city. And I always tell people, when they ask, Auburn is small, but it is a city, okay? It has its own hospital. It has its own school district. It has a professional, the minor league, sports team.
Right.
It is a city. And that's why people get surprised, because they think it's a small place, but it is still quite huge.
Yeah, that's a good point. To drive that point, that's good. Hospital, everything. It has everything you need here. But it's small where everything is easily accessible. You know, you can get anywhere in 10 minutes.
All right.
And it's just to kind of give an example of how beneficial it is. I was actually just talking to somebody, one of my friends, and he has a relative that moved to a gated community in Florida. It takes him from door to the gate, 20 minutes,
Oh, my Lord.
just to get to the gate.
Is that what his mailbox is?
Yeah. So, you know, if you're talking about Auburn, I want to go to Wegmans, 6 minutes. You know, I want to go to the hospital, 6 minutes. You know, everything is right there.
Somewhere, and I was surprised to see it, somewhere, they discussed exactly what you're talking about, but so many papers, I haven't absorbed them all. It talks about drive time, average drive time.
Yeah.
That was a great point.
Oh, yeah, that's in
Because-
that's in our document.
Yeah,
It is in
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
okay, that's what I saw.
What do y'all think
It's
Auburnians and businesses that have landed here really understand about, our IDA? Do you think that they have, not people, I'm talking about business owners and those that have these, you know, we wanna increase knowledge about what we do. What do you think that they think about IDA?
Businesses looking to locate here?
Businesses that are already here.
I don't think they think about it much at all, oftentimes.
Yeah.
Like, I think they think about it when they need us. And outside of that, you know, there are certain businesses that will call if they have a question or reach out, and they're like, oh, hey, like, I'm looking for such and such a thing, do you know where I can find that, you know, like, we had some of that. It was more when it was CETA, because CETA was a little bit broader and then
Right.
Mm-hmm.
scope. But I think it's a relationship thing. We've talked about this. It's about building relationships with people, and behind the businesses are the people. But it's a hard thing to do, and you can talk to any IDA or economic development organization about this, is like how to stay relevant in people's minds when they don't need you.
Right, so the reason I'm asking the question is because when I was sitting on the tourism board, there was a charge that was kind of spoken at the table in a meeting, and it was about the Black traveler's experience. And I said, yeah, New York State has committed money to that, this is what we're going to do. But if we're sitting in Harriet Tubman's hometown, I'm telling you right now, I've been Black all my life, folks are gonna come, but we're not coming back. If we don't see ourselves, right, in the matrix of how we experience ours. So if businesses are here, we wanna attract other businesses, those businesses need to be the ones that say, because I understand why I'm here.
Article about this, like 4 years ago? I probably did.
When I was a journal.
Yeah.
When I was a columnist for the Citizen.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know what, I think that's really powerful, because we have to do site visits, right? So we are mandated to go visit, and I'm thinking about our site visit at is it the Center for the, what's it called? Plaza of the Arts, and how the owner of that facility just went on and on and on. He said, hey, like, if you ever need me to talk to a business that wants to locate here, call on me. And I really think that that's another thing we could invite people who have had successful experiences with IDAs. When we're courting a business, create a little committee of folks. That, I think we've done this before, but not only the economic development experts, but people that have really had positive experiences working, playing, and living here.
It's important for people to say who you are, but it's much more powerful when someone else says who you are. Testimony sells.
So I think when we're looking at our strategies, that might be a strategy that we embed in our marketing plan, right? I mean, we'll have to figure out when to phase something like that. We've got a lot of just foundational work to do. But I love that idea.
Yeah, thinking about that with our website, we have these testimonials of like what it's like to live in Auburn.
Right.
And we probably should have some about like Avita customers.
Yeah.
For sure.
That would be great. I think
What
that
is like
section of the
here?
website needs to be updated, because a lot of those people don't even live here anymore, the young ones, so. But
Okay, so
wanted to look at
do this.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping an eye on the time here. I don't need to feel like I need to go through this overview, but like take a look at it. This was really, I put this together based on other things I had done and like filled in some stuff.
I thought that was really helpful.
More for this group, and I think it's a resource we can use moving forward and build out moving forward, just to have like on hand when people ask. So if there's things, and I think it's also a starting point when we start talking about a bullet list of talking points.
Right.
What are the things in here that we need to make sure people understand? But I don't think we need to talk about this today. Just like keep it in mind, and we can bring it back when we start. Or if there's, right now, if there's something that you felt was missing from this?
No, I'd like to actually read it before I.
Oh, yeah. Actually, one thing I should probably do is put a.
Good idea. We can all probably.
You know what I really appreciate about this document? What can IDAs do? I thought, genius. I'm like, well, okay, what can we do?
And then there's,
Like, stop asking me for this.
Give me a grant, no, I cannot.
and there's exceptions for tourism, and, it's interesting.
Not for, for regional projects.
Right.
What I probably should add to this is a list of past projects. Who has supported in the
Can
past.
you talk about before we forget the website for a minute?
Yeah.
I actually thought it was really pretty good.
I
love graphics,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
but wow, I mean, if I went into that, I just don't think the graphics reflect how really good that is. You know,
There should be more, maybe, photos, imagery.
It's hard to explain it. There's so many things on sites now that you don't need, but they're just very attractive.
Sure.
And so it tends to, like, believe it or not, like nonverbal communication. This is what all of the best websites look like. So if they don't look like that, sometimes you're just off the game before it comes in. And I went through that and just everything makes sense, and just, we get some money sometime, we have somebody come in, and, you know what I mean? Yes, perhaps an exciting picture, or just the graphics and stuff, you know, that's all. Oh, that was great.
Yeah, it's a great website.
I was very pleased.
It just
I, you know, I
makes a lot.
looked again a couple more times, but when I run to the website, and the few that I've overseen being developed, is that you know exactly what to do.
Mhm.
You know, it's like in the mall with the old sign, you're here,
Mhm.
and where do you go? And it answered my questions. It did.
I love that.
It did. So, let's just.
As a marketing committee, we should love that too. Because redoing websites is not a whole lot of fun.
This is the new org chart that I came up with to kind of introduce, to introduce the committees into the org chart. So the governance committee is gonna review this tomorrow, and then we'll bring it to the board so if there's any tweaks, by all means.
Yeah, why are we on the bottom? No, I'm just kidding.
You get where you get.
And you can't be upset.
But I also realized that I don't think our whole org chart had our appointing entity, prominently. So I thought that was good add too. I can clean up that line quite measured, so I'll clean that up, but,
I thought that was very clear.
so that's in a good spot, and then,
This was what we were thinking about, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
At first.
so like I have an Excel, this is an Excel sheet, I have an
Mhm.
Excel sheet, but this is something that, you know, one of the first things in the 30 days is
Yep.
who are the audiences, and these are ones that we in the past have considered. I honestly would almost take, like, it's important, but I don't know that, like, this area is where we need to be focused right now. Like, I think we have other priorities in terms of audiences, but this is something that I thought would be helpful to build out, just to give me a picture, this is how I think. You know, who are we trying to reach and how are we reaching them? So then when we go to say, like, okay, what updates do we need to make to the website? We have a clear picture of like, okay, who are the audiences for the website? And I put everybody, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe we wanna say, you know what, the website is really for these audiences. And we're gonna communicate with other audiences, or whatever, but,
Yeah, it's marketing, but it's a tool.
yeah.
And it's,
Or it might say, you know what, there's not really a place on this website for local residents to go and get their questions answered. We should probably add a page that is really geared towards them.
we could do that, we could also put in, you know, put in links to other sites for more information about tourism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do have a lot of
That makes
links
sense.
in.
I think, and make us some friends, I mean,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So this is something I think we can work on once we get past the charge, because it is in that first 30 days, is providing the audiences. But just something I wanted to kind of start talking about with this group is, I don't know if this format, it makes sense to everybody, it makes sense to me.
I just got the name from it, so I can see.
So,
One of the outreach mechanisms that we might want to have would be like in-person community engagement, right? Like, because I think that that will work when it needs to work, both internally and externally. For example, even with, well, I would say even with, I'm asking Tracy to work with our board to be more intentional about when we interact with the citizen, so it's not only that we're reacting to something that's been written about us, but that we're sharing information with them, whether they say anything about it or not.
We
But I-
control the narrative.
Yeah, but I think, that one-on-one convening external conferences, those are outreach mechanisms for us.
that's what I'm.
Do we have podcasts in this area that really speak to who we are, why we are from a business standpoint? I don't know.
Let's hang on.
Yeah.
Is there a podcast?
Finger they can read there.
I mean, in central New York, there's one.
Right.
What is that?
Beyond that, I don't know, I actually don't listen to podcasts.
I need to get better at that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you do.
They pop up on my YouTube all the time, and, I'm selective about it. What I love about them is that they've already defined the audience, and it would typically be people that we might not have access to, that we might want to have access to.
But they.
I'm big on using vehicles that are already running.
Yeah.
You just plug in.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
they're replacing kind of the local radio stations.
They really are.
Sure.
Yep, yep.
Because you can just, you want to start a thing and say, oh,
Get a
we're
microphone.
related to that.
That's it.
Yeah.
The thing though is that Center State CEO does a podcast that reaches a very broad audience. And we might just position ourselves to be an invited guest.
Exactly.
To talk about the idea of regional relationships and,
There's kind of.
Because we don't have to do the work then. They'll
No, yeah, they'll just
invite
invite you to be a
plug
guest.
in, exactly.
I could pitch to them that they do a podcast about industrial development authority.
Oh,
And bring ours in, theirs in, have,
What is the whole team?
yeah, right.
That'd be a win-win for them.
Mm-hmm, it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be fun, because the directors of the IDAs are fun.
They are.
Yeah.
So I think that that would be another thing for us to look at what economic development entities already have things we can see to. And I'm gonna say this would be a win-win for Central State CEO, because they would love to have us more engaged with them from a regional perspective.
Yeah, and I know of a couple, or I know where to find, I don't know them off the top of my head, like there are economic development podcasts, but they're really geared more towards economic developers. than they
Yeah.
are towards
Mm-hmm.
the broader.
Sure.
I wonder if there's a podcast site selectors listen to.
Well, I know if we wanted to create one, which I don't know if we do, but right downstairs at Belmont, we could do it.
I know we could.
No, it'd be too much, the management of it. But I like the idea of finding out, how we show up in other spaces where we want would be in part, maybe our external audience as well. But I do think it'd be interesting to see what our site selectors, in addition to websites, using to learn about areas where they might want to place their businesses. Because everybody's using.
I know how they get started.
Mm-hmm.
It's once you're on a short list, that's where you really have the power to make an impression.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's a story for a different day.
Tracy, are you also offering this not only from who we would want a website audience to be, but as we're talking about the different marketing strategies we want to use, these outreach mechanisms that also would inform what we would be saying. For example, if we're recommending that the Auburn IDA host a convening on this topic, we could say to them, based on our list, we would recommend that these people be the audience for that particular convening.
I'm definitely open to adding both columns and rows.
Yes.
So, or taking away columns or rows. Notice I don't have social here. Outreach mechanisms.
Well, maybe
I think it's something
other
that we-
things will pop up. There's probably one out there that's so cool that we're just not thinking.
Yeah. So ADA does have a Facebook page and it does have an Instagram page. We do not have access to it. Nor am I good at making content.
No,
So
Well,
content is
not yet, okay?
Content is a place for,
That might be something we
Help.
resource at some
Yes.
point.
but that's one thing just to know is that we do have them. We would need to regain access to them, which sometimes can be problematic.
That happens to a personal page, though, someone might have created.
Yeah,
You
Ian
don't
had
know
to
who-
create a whole new one when he left his. But so those are tied to CETA email addresses that we no longer have access to.
Well, we don't want
So
to
we
use it
will need to probably go
Yeah.
through a process.
You come up with a format, then it becomes easier to, and you have Snap or, what do we have Facebook, or what's the other one?
Instagram.
Instagram, well, then you just said it's serious, like, it's people department, or it's this department, and then it becomes easy to just put it out.
I would much rather see, focusing on Facebook and then,
Yeah, we also have one.
okay, good.
We just don't have access to it.
Yeah.
That one might be easier to get access to.
Interesting enough, no LinkedIn though.
I think we do have it.
Okay. I don't know how to use that for now, but it seems like that would be a good place.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I know what my home is.
Okay, so I think the steps for the next meeting, taking over knowledge.
Yeah, this is the last time that you don't get to run the meeting.
I've spent a couple of months here.
Yeah, you were voluntold, get your gathering.
Very efficient meeting.
We could
But
see.
you'll be here each time, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so
okay,
we'll
good.
be-
That's why when I say
The
Tracy
thing is,
makes it easy for us.
We'll be sharing this stuff before the next meeting.
Yeah,
so thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I remember what I used to say when I was recruiting. I would say, Auburn is a city. It has everything you need, not everything you want.
But you could get everything you want within an hour.
That's true.
That would be too long.
Just saying.
It's a great place.
If they ask that question, we could say, yes, you can.
So, okay, so for the next meeting, in between now and then, we're gonna keep looking at the charge documents and finesse those, so we can present them to the board in August.
Good to you as a Word document this evening.
Keep working on the asset list, I will send the link to that out after, probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Actually, for right, I say next step website review, but maybe let's hold off on that until we get deeper into the audience definition, work. So I think right now, preparing for that meeting next month is really the big thing, and then continuing to work on the asset list. And I will add past projects to the About Vita one page, or
Yeah.
document.
Yeah, I think that would be great for us to see, because I think we're learning, at least I find our monitoring visits really interesting. There are so many businesses and nooks and crannies of this community that I know nothing about. A lot of them are small businesses, but people are making stuff here.
That's what I love, that there's all these little mixed.
Yeah.
It's a thing, like,
Yeah.
I'm still finding, like, I had some laundromat the other day, because I needed to use a big machine, and there was like this little trail behind, I mean, there's just this cool stuff everywhere. Well, but we, this is neither here nor there, but at some point it would be nice if, when you ask somebody where they're from, and they say, oh, I moved here from, Ohio, or I moved here from California, the response should not be, what'd you move here for?
Yeah, hello.
What do you love about it?
Yeah, no, the response is, I knew you were a smart person when I saw you. No, you know, good move. I mean, it's just I think it's just the way they are.
Yeah.
But still, it needs to change.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else
All right.
before we adjourn?
Madam Chair, welcome to the hood.
Would you like to ask for a motion, Madam Chair?
I have a motion to close the meeting to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Any abstentions, rejections, say no, yes, maybe let's go. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're out of here.
Is this all of us?